Welcome back to the Fitness League, helping busy humans build strong bodies, sharper minds, and better lives. Join us each week as we cut through the noise, challenge the norms, and empower you to train smarter and live stronger. In this episode, we are going to be discussing the balance between grind culture and just getting shit done. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome, welcome.
I think everybody woke up in a particular mood today.
A spicy mood.
Spicy mood.
Or as Sloan says, spiky.
Level-headed until I talk to you guys.
We rile her up.
Let's go. Well, I got this calming fern behind me. I wanted some green. If you guys are watching on YouTube or Spotify community growing, shout out to you guys. That's been really cool to see. I think I mentioned this when we noticed that Spotify started doing videos, but like that's a cool community over there. They're doing a lot of cool things with the social media aspect and the spin.
Yeah, commenting and
yeah. It's ironic because we rank on Apple Podcasts. I think that's like the international league or the minor leagues. I think Spotify is really like the big leagues of podcasts. So where you are,
yeah, I feel it's the opposite.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, we've always ranked.
I only ever listen to a podcast on Spotify.
Really?
Now I do. I used to only be Apple.
So was I. And I still do just because of like the show following, but Spotify does allow for following shows and stuff. It's just mixed in with my music.
Annoying?
So it's
we
like distinct.
share a Spotify also. So it's like sometimes like your music will come up as like my recommended music. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to whatever meditation.
But you
I want to
literally
listen to Moana during my workout.
But like, you know, it's hard to share. Like, not that it's hard, but just like it can't be saved accurately. And it's all my stuff.
You can have Brant and I share an account, but we're on two separate, like, maybe we have like a family plan or something. Because our playlists don't mix, but we share an account.
We've never done that. I think I have seen it, but we've never done it.
I think it's some kind of family plan something.
Yeah, we probably should do that. But yeah, I always have thought Apple was like the head honcho of podcasts, but I feel like things are shifting, especially with people like, I mean, isn't Joe Rogan like on Spotify?
He signed the huge Spotify deal.
And like Call Her Daddy, like she did a
I don't know if
Spotify
Apple
deal.
gives you a deal. I think you just get to post on it. I've never heard of it.
But I'm just saying, like, I feel like that those big names like signing deals with Spotify has made Spotify like the platform.
smart on Spotify from a business standpoint to be like, hey, Alex Cooper will give you something like $87 million to make your YouTube exclusive on our platform. Mm-hmm. And guess what? The people who will love her and her podcast, they're moving to Spotify to watch or listen.
No, I agree. I think Spotify is the more enjoyable platform at this point. But we've always ranked in the top 100 for Apple for the health and fitness podcast. But what I was getting to is we're getting more engagement. We are getting more followers on Spotify. We're getting like all of our reviews that come through are coming through on Spotify, which has been really cool to see. So we will continue interacting over there. And I think we've been asking some questions on some episodes and waiting for the feedback in the comments. I think we can even post polls over there now. So if we have those more specific questions. I think you asked like a poll question. I'm going to check and see if I can throw that into an actual poll on Spotify. But shout out to them. It's been awesome. And it makes these episodes more fun to see it kind of growing in that community over there. But pulling it back to today's topic, wanted to keep it a bit more casual and get some flavor into this one. I think we'll be able to throw some fun conversations into this broader spectrum.
Remember that guy?
I'll get you the clock.
He has all the clocks.
Oh my God, yeah, the big clock. Before this episode, when you were not down here yet, Josh, I was telling Alessandra my playlist at the gym this morning was just like all the really old school, just like, I don't even know, a Biggie, Flo Rida. I was putting on my best.
Did you say old school with Biggie and Flo Rida in the same category? I feel like those are different eras.
I feel like, no.
Biggie and Flo Rida?
To be honest, I don't know who Biggie is.
Okay, so you don't get to have this argument. I can get down with Biggie.
Okay.
Flo Rida is like on my party playlist, like college era.
Yes, it was like our high school
flip cup songs,
college party pregame songs.
Right.
Yeah, and I was giving up my best performance for a multitude of throwback songs.
Yeah, I can get down with those on different playlists is what I was kind of getting to.
Well, it was Eminem radio, but it wasn't all
Okay.
Eminem. It was just
Okay.
like throwback party hits, but under the Eminem radio category. If anyone needs some just real fun high school, college music to listen to, if you are around
There's the
our
bridge.
age.
There's the bridge. That makes more sense now.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what's crazy to think about? We, like, today's generation of college kids get to just throw on a Spotify pre-made playlist. We had to sit there and think about what songs we were illegally downloading on LimeWire, drag them to the CD and like burn the CD through our parent. Like, there was so much work to just
Kids.
make a freaking playlist to play in your car, to play at a party, and now they just get to press a button and it's all done.
Yeah,
I
that wasn't college.
High school, whatever.
I think so much about how the college kids now, I think we talked about this once, but how the college kids now, they go out in like jeans and sneakers, and we wear these like bodycon dresses and heels. Yeah, and stilettos, and like walking around in a blizzard with no jacket. And these kids, they're like, no, I want comfort.
But we appreciated the effort.
We did.
Oh man, what a
Speaking
time.
of comfort, I feel like we are tougher because we went through that era of college in stilettos and no jackets, walking through a blizzard. I think that ties perfectly into today's topic of not choosing the comfortable route most of the time.
Yeah. It's interesting because if you scroll social media, you'll see kind of conflicting things, right? You'll see the give yourself grace people, give yourself grace and let yourself rest, and your body needs rest, and don't give in to this hustle culture and you'll be burnt out. And then on the flip side, you have the other end of the spectrum that's like, go, 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 grind, nonstop, get after it. And I think we lean that way, but we're not so far in that direction that we don't listen to our bodies or that we don't rest when we need to. So it's an interesting thought to figure out, like, well, where does someone draw the line? And is that line a different place for everyone? I would think so. But how do you find that line? Because probably in some capacity, the reason we've landed in probably what we would consider the middle-ish is because we've been on both sides of the spectrum. So how do you land on one side of the spectrum, then on the other side of the spectrum, and hope to land somewhere in like the messy middle?
I think through experience, you're like, well, this sucks and that sucks, and it's got to be somewhere over here. But where a lot of people end up landing, and which is the problem essentially, is like, this sucks and that sucks, so I'm just not going to do any of it.
I'm going to do the easier one that sucks.
Exactly. The thing that requires me to do the least, I can't commit to that thing, so I'm sliding off. And I think to your point of, we've done both things and we land somewhere in the middle, like we lean, go, 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 but like we still have moderation kind of built into that. I have picked up on the cardio. I told you guys on the last episode, I think I'm joining this runner crew that's happening on Team Levolution.
Josh is a runner now.
I'm probably going to do a half marathon, with Alessandra in October. So with that in mind,
I am not announcing my half marathon, Josh. It was going to be a secret, and I was just going to pop up on social with my medal and be like, boom.
Did
look
it.
what I did.
nah, too late.
I don't
busted
know.
it.
No, but to be fair, I haven't like, I just said this over the weekend to Josh. I was like, I'm thinking about maybe, like, if I'm still feeling good, still progressing over the next 8 weeks, I'll pop in and do the Hartford half, like, just as a fun run. And then he was like, I was thinking about doing the same thing. And then he made it an official
I really
thing.
like your Josh impression.
I don't
Can you do that
sound
voice
like that.
again?
Cora does one. Cora does a great one.
Cora does do it.
She just looks at me and goes, I do not sound like that, Cora Jade. Anyway, what I was getting at was the balance. And like, right, I've been training 5 days a week, lifting, and then I've been doing 2-3 runs a week. And I do want to scale that up a bit. So going to 4, but extending some longer runs. And even like 2 weeks into this, I'm like, I am fucking shot. I am freaking shot. Potty mouth. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta scale back. So I am back on the Evolve hybrid workouts, which are 4 days a week. They are very efficient. I mean, I can cruise through most of these in, it's between 30-35 minutes for the most part. Upper body, lower body, 2 days a week each. And I just started that again today. But again, it's like I could go balls to the walls and I could eat more and I could make sure I'm sleeping, 8 hours a day, 8.5 hours a night. Or I can scale training back a little bit, recalibrate, make sure I'm recovering properly. So it's like the understanding that, yes, we can do more, there is a give and take, and you don't have to do more of everything and then just burn yourself out. Like there's a balance where you don't burn the candle at both ends.
I think a lot of people try to balance life and balance all of these things. And the reality of it is you're never going to be able to balance everything perfectly. Like that's just not going to happen. But I think I've heard, I think Dockless Fitness talk about this, how it's not balance, it's harmony, and it's harmonizing things. So there's going to be seasons of life where you really push hard in one area, and that likely means other things come down a little bit, and vice versa. And this kind of ties into training. Like you think about periodizing your training programming. There's going to be phases where you're maybe lifting heavier and focusing more on the strength side, and running takes a back seat. And then maybe you do start to train for the half marathon or the marathon, and running kind of becomes the priority. Lifting takes a little bit of a back seat comparatively to what you were doing before. Even on a smaller scale, like looking at moms, there's going to be days where the house is in shambles, there's laundry overflowing, things are just falling apart because you prioritized maybe meal prep or getting a workout in. And the next day you're on top of the laundry, or the next week you're on top of the laundry and things are going a little bit better. And maybe, you had a deload week of workout. So it's this constant, not balance, but this constant harmony of figuring out how all of these pieces fit together in the puzzle that you're trying to create for the current season of life. And I think that's really the where we kind of draw the line too, is like, yes, we're leaning more towards that grind, but not at the sake of our overall health, or to the point where everything else suffers a lot more than it should be. It's still a priority. It just might not be as like high of a priority as whatever the main thing is that we're focusing on.
I think one of the things that people really get wrong about this concept is that they think, that the far side of the spectrum, that is like the grind hustle people, that those people, or even just leaning more towards that side, that those are the people who are so rigid. And that's why they can do the way they, they're perfectionists, they're rigid, and that's how and why
they're
they
more
can
disciplined,
do it that way. When in reality, it's actually that those people have learned flexibility, and they can be as consistent as they are because they have learned to be flexible. There was a time in my life where I was very rigid about what I ate, how I exercised, when I exercised, and would do anything rigidly with no flexibility despite how I felt. I did live that at some point. Which is funny because you might look at like how me, Josh, Alessandra do things now and be like, wow, they're so rigid, they're so disciplined, they're so this. And there were periods of life that were like that, I think for you guys too. But for myself, how I do things now, for as quote disciplined as I am, I very much consider myself in that messy middle because I've learned to be flexible. And it's a level of flexibility that I did not at one point possess. And I think part of that is like parenthood has taught us that. We've had to learn to like be a little bit more go with the flow, or yes, still plan, but also we have learned how to pivot now. Like before there was a Joelle that did not pivot. We do what the plan is,
or you didn't do it.
Right. It's super all or nothing. But I think that, yes, there's obviously an aspect of like discipline in what we do, but don't mistake flexibility for rigidity, because we can do what we do because we can flex the plan. And I think people screw up consistency with being perfect or being rigid. And most of us can show up really consistently because we're flexible in how we approach things.
I also really like the reframe of balance versus harmonious.
Yeah.
So I think harmonious applies better to this idea that we have a certain amount of energy we can apply to whatever our current goal is. So for those of us who are just trying to find balance, we may live in the middle, and progress towards any one thing in particular can be pretty limited. It's like, yes, we're maintaining or we're moving slowly toward a goal, or improving slowly over time, which is still awesome. And there are definitely seasons for that. Hey guys, real quick, if you've been listening and thinking, I need to start doing something for my health, but I don't have time for a full program, that is literally why we built the SDE Method app. It's a fitness app made for real people with real lives. Busy parents, working professionals, anyone juggling 100 things. You can get a smart, effective workout in around 30 minutes, some even closer to 20 minutes, and log out knowing you made progress. You can finally take the guessing out of your workouts. We have workouts designed to be done at the gym or at home, and you get access to all of them when you sign up. As life phases change, you can pick a new one that aligns better with what you have going on right now. And one more thing, we are also qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. So just hit the app link in the show notes, start where you are, we'll help with the rest. All right, let's get back to the show. But like to kind of put something a little more concrete in front of you for this example, like if I'm trying to do a bunch of different things, like if I was trying to get really great at running and I'm trying to increase strength and trying to improve body composition, none of those things are going to get exponentially better. We can probably move in the right direction on all of those very slowly, but not one is going to get a lot better. So people may grind in the gym in this kind of similar environment, that kind of concept. I want to get better at all these things. Like I've been doing this for a year and I look exactly the same, or I only look a little bit better. I don't look as good as the amount of hard work I'm putting in. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up. And we've all kind of been there. I've been there. I'm not big enough. I'm not lean enough. Like, okay, well, which one am I going? If I cut them too small, if I bulk them, be too fluffy. So it's kind of deciding, okay, with the limited resources that we have, time, energy, balance and work, kids, whatever, how can I create the most harmonious protocols that move me in this direction? I still want to improve heart health, but I really want to get leaner. I want to increase strength. I wouldn't mind getting a little bigger, but I want to . What is your priority or your top three? And then prioritize the priorities and make sure your protocols are supporting the ones at the top of that list. Otherwise, that's where a lot of that frustration comes in. It's like, well, I'm moving and I'm trying really hard, but I'm not seeing the ROI. Same thing in business, doing 100 different things. But if we're not seeing the bottom line go up, if we're not improving the product, well, we're not allocating those resources as appropriately as we should be. We're not seeing the growth because we're trying to do everything. So what are the most high leverage things we can do first and make sure those stay at the top of the list?
Yeah. What's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck?
And it's going to look different. Like even if you have the same top 3 priorities as someone else, it might still look a lot different for you depending on your starting point, depending on what you've been doing the last 5 years, 10 years. Like it can still be a completely different protocol and completely different application depending on those things. And that's, I think, another area where people kind of just get all jumbled up is they see someone kind of maybe in the same season of life going after goals that they may have and trying to implement exactly what they're doing, thinking that that's the key and that that's the secret sauce, when in reality, yeah, you might have the same goals, you might be in the same season, quote unquote, but if your life looks completely different, which I'm sure that it does, none of us are living the same lifestyle and jobs and all of that, you're gonna still need a different application. You're gonna still need a different protocol. And I think that can sometimes be a hard pill to swallow, because then it's like, well, now I'm back to the drawing board and I don't know what to do. Cough, cough. That's where coaching comes in. But I think, it's so easy to get caught up in, well, this is working really well for this person. Why is it not working for me?
Yeah, I think of even, we are typically the 5 a.m. mother shift type of people, right? But if that is not for you, that does not mean that you getting in your workout after your 12-hour workday is any less hard. Like I know for me, if 7 p.m. was the only time, or even 5 p.m. was the only time for me to hit the gym, I would do what I had to do. I would dread it because I remember how that felt. I mean, now much different season of life. Like I work from home and everything, but still there is no part of me. Like I'm sure there are people who look at our 5 a.m. workouts and they're like, hell no. Mm-hmm. And those might be the people who go at 5 p.m. And we look at that and we're like, hell no. That's my family time, or that's my kid time, or that's work time, or that's my commute time, whatever that is. But I think people are so quick to say like, oh, well, maybe Alessandra's doing the 5 a.m. workouts and she looks this way and she's crushing it and she's doing this. And now I'm a failure if I don't do it that way, or I'm not working hard enough if I don't do it that way. And it's like, hey, you could do the 5 p.m. workout and be working just as damn hard. I think it's harder to go 12 hours into your day and get a workout after you've just been slammed by the day. I think it's harder to do that than it is to get up at 5 a.m. So like, let's also understand that how one person does something does not mean that you doing it differently is any better or worse. And that there's different ways to do things, and that what we consider hard you may very well be doing something that we would be like, hell no, that's way too, that's too hard. Or like, I wouldn't want to do it that way. That's not my preference.
Yeah.
By the same token, if we can't get up for that 5 a.m. workout because either our body was screaming at us or there were a lot of wake ups and we decided, hey, I'm going to do the sleep, that doesn't automatically mean it's a rest day for us. It might mean, hey, we're going to do it a few hours later. And that's that piece of flexibility that we're talking about.
That's a good transition point, though. So for those who do have that 12-hour shift and working out at 5 o'clock in the morning sounds terrible, it also sounds terrible to train after work, or it's not realistic because we have to go home and be with the kids. And if we're doing all these things, like, okay, when do we fit in the family time? I feel like a lot of people still fall into that boat. And it's a situation where you have to decide, where is my time best invested? How can I create a hybrid? If you're looking at your calendar and you're looking at the day, like, there literally isn't time. I cannot insert X, Y, or Z anywhere, or I would be an absentee parent, or I couldn't show up for work, whatever it is. Okay, well, what are you doing to take care of your health? Because that doesn't mean you have to go to the gym and train for 90 minutes. What are you doing to keep your health in check? Because as important as it is to be a parent, as it is to show up for work, obviously these are non-negotiables. It's also important to take care of yourself, because as your health deteriorates, those relationships deteriorate, your mood deteriorates, you become less productive, you become less patient with your kids. All these things take a hit. And this isn't just lip service. These are things that we need to be aware of. And like, the reason our country is in the shape that we're in health-wise is because we're letting certain things fall to the wayside. So what exactly is it that you can do? Can you clean up what you're eating? Can you move a little more throughout the day at work? Do you get any breaks? Can you like walk in circles or go outside and take a walk as you're eating your snack or your lunch or whatever that is? When you get home, can you hang with the kids? If they're watching a show, or if you guys are just being together, you're outside, they're playing on the playground, can you do a little circuit? Can you do some push-ups and some squats and do some sprints back and forth with the kids? Can you go to the park and play soccer with your kids? There does have to be something that you're implementing for your health. And that's why we talk about, no cookie cutter plan, but the L5 method being a blueprint: training, nutrition, mindset, movement, habits, picking a protocol for each of those. It doesn't have to be what you would expect in a structured fitness plan. It can look different for everybody, but you need something for all those. For nutrition, can you make sure you are optimizing your whole food, nutrient dense options, and we're cutting down on the ultra processed foods? For movement, can we set a specific threshold? Can you get to 7,000 steps a day? Whether that means, you're out there for a 5-minute walk before you leave to work. You're just, driveway back and forth for a few minutes as the car is warming up. Taking the walk at lunchtime, doing the evening walk after dinner with the kids. This is still family time, so we have hybrid of certain methods and things that are going on throughout the day, but you're checking multiple boxes. Training, doing something for training. Roll out of bed and do 3 sets of 10 push-ups to get started. You're going to feel better. So all of these stories that we tell ourselves, and we hit on this last episode, a couple episodes ago, whatever it was. We tell ourselves stories. When we start listening to the narrative is when we allow this wall to build, and there's no way to get through this wall. I know it's normal. Nobody else is doing these things. Normal is not optimal, as we can see. You look around, most people are not healthy. Most of our healthcare system is buried right now in some type of comorbidity. It's not a good picture. So forget normal, forget what that looks like, forget what your coworkers are doing, focus on yourself. What can you implement to improve your health? What can you implement to be a little bit better today? And this isn't some motivational speech. It's not being a hard ass. It's the realistic truth. If you want to get the most out of your life, you have got to start taking care of yourself, but it doesn't have to be in the traditional sense you see on social media, going to the gym, doing these crazy things, getting this crazy sweat on. Just do something and do it every day.
I had one of my followers message me after, I think it was last week's episode of Mother Shift. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I started a new little series on Instagram. Every Monday I drop these videos, and she said, 5 a.m. isn't in the books for me right now, but I put my kids to bed by 8 o'clock. I get my butt into the living room with, I think she just has, a couple sets of dumbbells or just minimal equipment, and she does her workout after her kids go to bed. And that still counts. That is still working out. Is it ideal?
That's so much
Does she want to do that? It's probably so hard for her to make that decision after kids' bedtime. It's already 8 o'clock. You're probably exhausted from the whole day of work and parenting and all the things. That decision to do that is so much harder than just like rolling out of bed and doing it before your brain even understands what's happening, in my opinion. But she's getting it done. She's showing up for herself. And as hard as it is in this season, because she is making that choice to do it at 8 o'clock at night, when she is able to do it at a different time, when her kids get older, when work slows down, whatever the case may be, it's going to be that much easier. She already has that consistency built. And I think that's the point we're really driving home here, is that it's not always going to be the most ideal situation for you. Most cases, it's probably not going to be ideal. It just isn't. We have to do it anyway.
I think this is also where we forget that it's not grit or grace. It's they can coexist. And we often think like, I have to choose, like, do I want to be gritty or do I want to give myself grace? In her situation, I don't know, I don't know much about her season of life, obviously, but maybe her grace is morning workouts are not it. I need that extra hour or two of sleep. But then the grit says, but I'm going to do it when the kids go to bed tonight. That's grit and grace coexisting in the same situation. But grace, I posted about this recently, grace without grit doesn't get you very far. Like, yes, we absolutely need both. But if we are constantly hearing a message of we have to give ourselves grace, and yes, there's truth in that, right? Like life is hard, life is demanding, parenthood is demanding. And also, when we have grace without any grit to follow, like without grit as the follow up to that grace, that's where we fall short. Because grace, yes, is giving yourself kindness, but grit is the follow through. So I love that example you gave, Alessandra, because it's okay to say, oh, grace is okay, well, today didn't go as planned. Grit says, all right, well, we're going to do this better tomorrow. We're going to try again tomorrow. The grace is this doesn't have to be perfect, or this doesn't have to be the 5 a.m. workout. Well, then I'm going to do it at 7 p.m. when the kids go to bed. That's my grit. And so I think that's something that people kind of get wrong. And I'm going to call moms out here, specifically not calling the moms out, but I think messaging to moms specifically is very, very grace oriented, because moms do carry so much physically, mentally, emotionally, that I think moms are constantly hearing this message of like, give yourself grace. Like the baby didn't sleep good, or like you're handling a lot. All that is true. But also, where's the follow through? Yes, you need grace. And also you need to take care of yourself. And sometimes you're going to have to get a little gritty.
What's tough is those are two entirely different mindsets. So you essentially need to have like this bipolar attitude, or like this statement where you're transitioning, I am in grace mode to I am in grit mode. And it's funny, this came up on my run last week. I did not want to do it. I was tired, worn down. And this is like right before I started feeling really run down and switched my programming. But just the phrase, and I know we were talking about phrases too, like what are we going to put on a hat? What are we going to do? So the one that actually got the adrenaline pumping was just, I got this. And it was something I used when I was still playing sports. If we're down, I'm coming up to bat, or it's my turn to pitch, like whatever's going on, put the team on my back. Like the mindset is, I got this. Ain't nothing stopping me. I don't need anybody's help. I'll do this myself. I got this. Fired up, cruised through the rest of that run. That was the first phrase we tried on that actually inspired something of a feeling versus like, this could work or that could work. It was like, no, I got this. Let's roll. So it's basically, whether you use that, something else, you could utilize a mantra to transition that mindset to, today sucked. It's okay. Let's go meditate. Let's create this clean slate. Tomorrow I wake up, the alarm goes off. I got this. This is my thing. So now it's go time. It's go mode. Let's go Super Saiyan, whatever your thing is. Being able to have, if it's an audible, if you're writing it down, but something that takes you from one of those into the other. Because if you try to live in a singular mindset, which is why it's so difficult to switch, if you live in that singular space, you're going to lean in that direction. So to create this cue is a very powerful tool.
I think that's why Mother Shift hit so hard and hit the way that it did, is because people can identify with it. And it's like, oh, I'm going to go clock in for my shift now. I'm going to go, show up for my mother shift. And I close off every video. I say, this is your shift, take it. And I think actually Brad, like when we were having this little powwow of like, what could we put on a hat? I think take it was one of his ideas.
I think it was something like, take it, it's yours, or something.
Yeah. And it's the same.
Wasn't his lead them?
I don't remember whose was who.
We brought up so many different ones in that conversation, but I thought someone had something around
take it. But yeah, I mean, it's just like identifying with whoever this person is that you want to be. It might not be who you are right now, It's who is your future self that you are striving to be, and you have to identify with them, and you have to identify with the small decisions that they're making. And I mean, back in the day, do it for your future self. That was like my little thing, like way back. And it's true. Like you have to figure out, okay, what is future Alessandra doing, and how can I choose one thing to do today that brings me closer to her?
Yeah, like what would the person that I want to be do? What would they be choosing in this moment? The person who I want to be and want to become, what would she do? Would she skip this workout? Would she do this workout? Would she rest? Would she take off? Would she do it later? What would she do?
Yeah.
And then become her.
I shared this morning too on Instagram. I wrote this down. I said, I was thinking about it in the terms of like parenting. Like we talked about before, Joelle, like going from 0 to 1 kid was like the hardest transition, like that just becoming a first time mom, first time dad. And I wrote, it doesn't get easier. You just get better. You get stronger. You become more capable. And I think that applies very well to parenting, because it's true. It's not like a second or third kid is easier. You just are better. You're stronger.
Yeah.
You are more seasoned. And I think that applies, it can apply to anything. It can apply to fitness. It can apply to running. It can apply to strength. But I feel like people are so scared of the hard thing and choosing the hard thing. And we almost run in the opposite direction of doing the hard thing when we should be running towards it, because it's that hard thing that allows us to get better and stronger and therefore make the thing easier.
I have a few mantras I save that in my reminders that pop up every Friday. And one of those is everything must be hard before it can be easy.
Such a good reminder. You've said that one to me a few times in moments of adversity.
I wonder why.
I've had a couple of those recently, huh?
Josh, you text me that every day. No. Yeah, I think that's a really good reminder. And I think that I think society as a whole has gotten a little too comfortable with never wanting to be uncomfortable. And I think it's landed us in a pickle in a multitude of ways. I think our technology has something to do with that, and everything being quick and easy. And Amazon, you want something, you click it, it's at your house in a day. You're curious about something, you look it up on your phone real quick and you have an answer in 0.2 seconds. I think there's a lot of like convenience is something we all want in our lives, right? To get the groceries delivered and not have to leave the house, or we have so many things queued up in our lives for convenience. Health and fitness and longevity is the one thing that you cannot like it's the one thing that there's really no instant gratification. There's no convenient shortcut to be able to do that. And it makes it feel that much harder because everything else in our lives has become so much easier that now when you really have to try and do something, that feels exponentially harder than it should.
It reminds me of, I still have that one pregnancy post is still going viral of, I forget what she said, that poor baby. And I was like, whatever, that poor baby is going to have a mom, blah, 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 blah. Just talking about like the benefits of health and fitness on pregnancy and the baby. And it reminds me because there was a couple comments that were like, well, you know, back in the day, women didn't have to work out like this, and they didn't need to strength train, and they didn't need to exercise. And, you know, that was their argument, kind of countering why I'm such a proponent of exercise. And back in the day, women were working their freaking asses off out on the farm and holding all their laundry and bringing it to the river. And like, we were just so much more active and strong and focusing on functional strength in so many other ways. So yeah, maybe back in the day, we didn't have to strength train, or that wasn't a thing for women yet. But guess what most women are doing today? Sitting on their butts on a computer working. So I just think that it just reminded me of that, the way that you said that, Joelle. And I think it just goes to show, like, we do have it so easy today, but that doesn't mean it's an excuse to not do the hard thing.
Listen, if you're tired of the all or nothing cycles, the diet starts Monday, the I know what to do, I'm just not doing it feeling, we should probably talk. Our one-on-one online coaching isn't just about workouts and meal plans. It's about building something that actually fits your life. No cookie cutter templates, no guilt, just real coaching and real results. Plus, we've got a pretty big team, so we can even pair you with an expert who actually understands your lifestyle because they've gone through it too. If that sounds like what you've been missing, check out the link in the show notes to apply for coaching. Then we'll send you the link to book a free, no obligation consult call with our team. There are no hard closes. We won't even take your credit card over the phone. You'll get the details to sign up on your own time. And more good news, we are in fact qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. One last thing, we even offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. What are you waiting for? Spots are limited, so apply today. All right, let's get back to the show. I am officially over the discussion of the ancestral way. We used to do things this way. It's not that that way was better. It's that we are fucking everything else up now. And I'm keeping the F-bomb on that one because it was well placed. We are destroying everything else we're doing now because of the convenience, because we are now extremely lazy or extremely burnt out, and that leads to laziness in other areas of our lives. It's not that sleeping in a cave and heating ourselves with fire and breathing that smoke in all night was more healthy for us. It's that we were required to move our bodies and only ate whole foods out of the ground or off an animal's back. That was a little better than things are today. Whereas today, technology and information and all these other things will allow you to live to be 100 years old, 120 years old, versus dying when you're 29 because you got eaten by a lion or you had a heart attack or whatever happened. Like it wasn't better back then. To be very clear, everybody, it was not better back then. Things are way better now. We are just putting ourselves in this extremely unhealthy bubble, which we have the information on how to pop it. And we're trying to provide that to you. So as far as all these things we got to do way back when, well, we're in a way better position now. So we can stop using that as a reference point. Maybe just stand up off your couch, put down the pint of ice cream, and let's go take a walk outside with the family. That is better.
I heard a podcast clip the other day. I don't even remember who it was, but it was something like they were comparing life expectancy. Was I telling you guys about this? Did I tell you this already? So I must have been filling Brant in. So there was this clip about how from like the caveman era, life expectancy was like 30 years old, right? And by something like long ago, but not so egregiously long ago. But from the caveman era to 1860 is hundreds of thousands of years. Don't quote me on that number, but a long time. In the quote 1860s, whatever it was, life expectancy 35. So in those like tens of thousands of years or hundreds of thousands of years, whatever it was, 5 years. And so then Brant and I started listing off all the ways that we would have died by age 30. Because we were like, wow, modern medicine, like Brant and I both got our appendixes appendi. What's plural for appendix? Is it like asparagus? We both had our appendixes removed, like me at, I don't know, 26, 27, Brant probably like 20, somewhere around there too. And we're like, that would have killed us. Like that would have been something that killed us. I got chicken pox in 3rd grade. That probably would have killed me. Like in terms of modern medicine, we have it way, 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 way better now. But the person on the podcast was also saying, you know what didn't change in that from the 30-year life expectancy to the 35-year expectancy? They were all eating organic food, pasture raised, blah, blah, blah. And guess what? They were still dying at 30. So like, it's just this silly argument of like, oh, get him back to the ancestral ways. Like you be dead. You be so dead so long ago.
Even childbirth, we'd probably.
Oh my God. Yeah. People used to, and that's the other thing. People used to have like 8 to 10 kids per family. Or like the average like sibling amount in a family was 10, I think, or 10 to 12, something crazy, because you had to assume that the vast majority of your kids were going to die.
That and you're raising a farm, like you need all the hands you can get.
You need more hands on
It's true. But it was like child deaths were so common because a kid got sick, like they died. Or it was so much more common for moms to die during childbirth. Like look at a C-section, whatever. That again comes back to medical, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we got here, but
that was a good tangent.
That was the ancestral rant of the day.
Literally, Britt and I are going back and forth. We're like, what would have killed us by age 30? We're like, oh, Sloan and Reese, see ya. Hand, foot, mouth, flu, COVID, like just all the things that you're like, probably wouldn't have survived this however long ago, or probably wouldn't have survived this. Then we got on a whole tangent about COVID and how the comorbidities associated with COVID. Those were the people who did the worst in terms of their health. And there's a whole other thing, but you should take care of yourself. It's good for your health.
Moral of the story, take care of yourself. Yeah, well, I have a story I can share, kind of not related to that, but like made me think about it. I'm sharing it because she shared it publicly and, you know, wanted to spread awareness. But one of our members, her name's Courtney, she's local to us. We ran the Mystic 10K together last year. And she was on vacation with her family, kind of just was experiencing some back pain and just, you know, like the little dull aches and things that we all experience that we kind of brush off as just like, oh, it must be fighting off something, or, you know, I slept wrong or whatever. And this went on for about a week or so. I'm doing a very short summary of her story from what I remember from her video, but she did post about this. Basically, she, you know, fights through it, pushes through it, has 3 small children, on vacation with their family. They come home. So this is like day 6, has a headache, really not feeling well, like trying to power through it, but like it's getting worse. So she ends up getting bacterial meningitis. And for those who don't know, that's something that most people usually do not recover from. It is fatal for most people. And even if it doesn't kill you, it usually results in some sort of seizures or just, you know, it's attacking your brain and your spinal cord. So you can imagine that the results of that are not great. But by some miracle, she is home and she is recovering. She's still not out of the clear, but she's, you know, she hasn't experienced anything serious to that extent. And they really do think that it's because of the fact that she takes care of herself. She's super healthy. She strength trains. She's training for races. I think she's was in the process of training for a longer distance half marathon or marathon. And it just goes to show the power of focusing on your health and showing up for yourself every day could literally save your life from something that you don't even, it's not even on your radar. So I just wanted to share her story just to, 1, spread awareness, and 2, kind of just remind you guys that I think our health and our bodies are something that we take for granted on a daily basis. And you may experience this when you get sick and have a cold, or, you know, you maybe have an injury of some sort. It's like you don't realize how good you've got it until it's gone. So I just wanted to share Courtney's story. I am so happy she's okay, and we're so grateful. I'm sure she's happy to be home too, but it was a life-altering experience for her. And this was somebody who was in great health. So if that's not a sign for you to start focusing on your health, I'm sure most of you listening to this podcast are focusing on your health in some sort of way, but let that kind of just sit with that today. Like, we are not promised tomorrow. We are not promised anything. So show up for yourself the best way that you possibly can show up for yourself today.
Pay attention. I know we circle back to this in many episodes, but pay attention to who you're following, because I attribute a lot of this blame to the bigger influencers on social media, because you have to choose an extreme on one side or the other. Those who are preaching in the middle, which there are plenty, but those aren't the accounts that blow up typically. So it's the big guy saying you must be all in and doing X, Y, and Z every single day. And if you're not doing this, you're failing, all the way down to, you know, all you got to do is roll out of bed and do a couple laps around your kitchen and you're good. That's it. That's all you need to do for that day. And you need to give yourself grace and love yourself. And that's perfectly fine. Versus the truth being in the middle, where you need to build up to a certain threshold and maintain that threshold to achieve optimal health. So if you find yourself looking at something and saying, well, this seems like a whole lot of fluff, maybe go ahead and maybe you don't have to unfollow, but keep that in the back of your mind. Stay aware. Realize that they're spreading a message that is going to allow them to reach a greater audience and may not even necessarily be the way that they live on a day-to-day basis. Common sense above all else.
If it seems too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. I think we all can kind of, I mean, maybe not, but I think most of you can assess where to draw that line.
You also don't need to comment about your disapproval, because you're only going to boost their engagement. Just FYI.
I disagree. Okay, cool. Carry
Great.
forward. Yeah, so just it's common sense, guys, and we're here to spread awareness of that common sense. But again, living in the middle, you don't get the massive reach. And that's why we ask you guys, if you've been listening beyond 3 episodes, we got that 3-episode rule. Please share the show. It helps it reach a new audience. It helps it reach that person who needed to pull a little something, something. We do not monetize this podcast. There are no ads on this podcast. We talk a little bit about what we do and how we do it. But we do this for you guys. You are the Fitness League. It is your role in the fitness league to help grow the fitness league. Anything else you guys want to add in? I think you're on mute.
I can't hear you all, Sandra.
Sorry, I was muting myself because Josh and I sit so close, so sometimes we pick up on each other's mics. I was going to throw in that we're probably going to roll with the topic-centered Q&As. So we'll let you know what tomorrow, or well, you're listening to this one tomorrow. So we'll let you know what this week's will be. We also, I brought this up to both of you individually, but I think it'd be cool, and you guys let us know what you think too. We might throw in some solo episodes. So maybe, we do one Q&A per month that is a certain topic, and then we rotate through a couple solo episodes as our second post of the week, just us sharing either personal experiences or stories or just any topic that we really want to bring to you guys on a solo level. I think sometimes I think it's interesting listening to people just kind of work through certain stories or share stories like that, but you guys let us know what you think. I think it'd be cool to try at least for a little bit.
I dig it.
Dig it.
Well, we're going to wrap up this conversation with the reminder that change doesn't come in one big moment. It's built in the ways you keep showing up. Take what you learned today and build the best version of yourself for tomorrow. Where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
At Joelle Samantha.
At Josh Skutnik.
And everything else you need is linked in the show notes.